Okay, very good. The recording has started. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining on this beautiful, sunny, and a little chilly Tuesday morning. Always appreciate you making time to be with us for our now weekly call. As you probably saw from my email yesterday, we do want to make sure these calls are worthwhile. We think the weekly setup has really carried pretty well over the last several weeks. As people have gotten back to work, a daily is really not needed anymore. Or quite honestly, it's not feasible because of the fact so many people are back to work. But weekly has seemed to set in pretty well. We're getting a good turnout for that. So we're going to continue this for a while. But we always want to make sure we're cognizant of meeting your needs as far as information and speakers. So please do share with us either on this call or respond to the email I sent yesterday about any topics you want to learn about or speakers you'd like to have on the call, and we will absolutely make sure to make that happen. We do have a couple today that we're excited to introduce you to, so we'll get to that here in a second. But before we started the call, I did make a mention. We did have our annual meeting last week. Some of you participated in person on that, and then also on the virtual version of that. And we did send out an email to you last Friday, I believe, with the information on that, including the videos that were shot that are available on our YouTube page. But I wanted to not only comment on that, but I wanted to make sure, I said something that I said extensively at that meeting. That economic development is truly a team sport, and we've been able to work through this and move forward by working with all of you, by collaborating with all of you. So we thank you for the partnership, not only over the past year, but all these years we've been doing it, and then certainly going forward. So thank you for being on the call today. Thank you for your partnership. We greatly appreciate it. So several speakers today. Do want to let you know right up front, unfortunately, we will not have Dave on from the RESD. Something's come up. So I don't have a schools update other than I talked to Dave this morning. He said he did not have anything new from last week's call. So for those of you that have kids in districts, definitely encourage you to be in touch with them. I'm sure you are. You're hearing from them on the restart plans for your kids. And then certainly a message we said last week to the employers in the community that have workers that are dealing with these issues. Please be patient. Please work with your workers on that because it's obviously a very challenging time for everybody as we try to get the kids back into school. So that's the school update today. We'll definitely have Dave back on in the future if there needs to be any additional update. We do have our friends from PTAC, the Procurement Technical Assistance Center, that have joined us today. I sent out an email. You should have gotten it yesterday. They have a Meet Buyer event coming up here in less than 10 days, I believe, that looks like a great opportunity for folks to participate in. So I know Sam Fountain is on the line, and I believe Jasmine McKinney was going to join us as well. Jasmine, are you on? And if you are, oh, there you are. Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good, good. Thanks for joining. Please let our listeners know about your program you have coming up, Meet the Buyer.
All right. So we are so excited this year to partner with the Pure Michigan Business Connect, as well as the Saginaw Future PTAC to host this virtual event that is going to bring the purchasing demand to the supply base right here in Michigan virtually. So you don't even have to leave your office or your home to be able to join in this opportunity to learn about opportunities on how to access procurement opportunities with buyers such as the U.S. Army Tank Automotive and Armaments Command, TACOM, down in Warren, as well as the Michigan Department of Technology Management and Budget, and they handle the lion's share of procurement for the state of Michigan. So any procurements over $25,000 come out of the Michigan Department of Technology Management and Budget, as well as Great Lakes Water Authority, and the Defense Logistics Agency is also going to take part in this. As well, we are very excited to have several organizations that are also going to participate to share information on how to get certified as a woman-owned small business, minority-owned small business, as well as a new one, which is the LGBT certification, as well as the National Veteran Business Development Council to talk about veteran-owned small business certification. So we are just super excited about this webinar event. It is going to happen next Thursday. So yes, we are about 10 days out, a little less than 10 days at this point. And so that's Thursday with a start at 9 o'clock. And then we will have actual Meet the Buyer roundtables starting at 10 o'clock. So we will do, starting at noon. So it is going to be a full day of opportunities for you to not only learn, but also connect with the supply base, as well as those buyers that I mentioned earlier. It'll be roundtable discussions that will be led by the purchasing agents. And so that will happen at noon, and you will be placed into rooms, roundtables separately. So if anyone has attended our Meet the Buyer in person, it is going to be very similar, but virtual. And obviously, because this is a new technology that we are using and platform that we're using with Pure Michigan Business Connect, we didn't do the robust number of buyers that we normally have, where we have 20 to 30 buyers in a space. We're hoping to do something like that later on, maybe early spring of next year. But right now we have the 4 buyers, and we are very excited about this opportunity. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention this. And Justin, I actually just got off a call with MDOT, so the Michigan Department of Transportation, and they have a certification as well for woman-owned small businesses, as well as minority-owned small businesses. And they are going to be having a webinar, and I will share that information and link with you, Justin, shortly once I actually get it. And they are having an event next week, 1 week from today, a webinar on learning about that certification process, and also learning about opportunities to do business with Michigan Department of Transportation. So PTech is hard at work and hoping to help connect businesses with these buyers. If anyone is in need of creating a capability statement, which is a one-page document that puts all of your information about your company, differentiators, your NAICS codes, all of the pertinent information that you need in order to share that with the buyers, please let me or Samantha know. Samantha's on the call as well, and we can help create that document for you prior to the Meet the Buyer. So just reach out to one of us, and we will take care of you. And thank you again, Justin, for all the hard work that SEDP has been doing throughout this pandemic, but just really all the time. I know I appreciate getting all your emails and getting all the updates, and I know that your clients do as well. So thank you for the time this morning.
Thank you, Jasmine, and thank you, Sam. Thank you for the partnership and all the great work you're doing to serve businesses not only in Shiawassee County, but throughout the I-69 Thumb region. And I would definitely encourage everybody, certainly if you want to participate and Meet the Buyer, that would be great. But they have some great services for anyone that wants to be able to, sell to the federal government or other governments or public bodies. They can really get you connected. So, please definitely get in touch with them if you're interested in that. So thank you, Jasmine. Thank you, Sam. We have another speaker today, a brand new one for you that I'm excited about. It's a technology company that's actually here in Owasso now. So I think this will be a new one for, I think, a lot of listeners on the call. It's a business called Exploring Potential. And we have Brett King joining us today. I'll let him tell his story, but we're very interested in the capabilities they can offer in general to serve our local community. And once again, I'll let him talk about it. But I did want Brett to come on today in particular because, as many of you know, we've had a history with these calls of bringing on speakers who have programs, products, services relating to helping businesses get through COVID-19. And they have some special offerings that we think could be very helpful for businesses in our area as it relates to that. So I thought it would be good to bring Brett on, introduce him to all of you on our weekly call. And then our goal is to provide further introduction for them going forward. But for today, I wanted to bring him on to talk specifically about some of their COVID-19 offerings. So with that, Brett King, Exploring Potential. Brett, are you on the line?
And hey, good morning. I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
There you are. Yep. I hear you. You're good. Go ahead.
All right, perfect. Well, hey, thank you very much, Justin, and good morning to everybody else on. Yeah, I'll if it's all right with y'all, I'll just do a quick intro to who we are, and then I would love to speak really specifically around COVID-19 and some of those solutions and resources we've got. I know that's a pretty pressing issue. But yeah, Exploring Potential, we're a creative and technology agency. As Justin mentioned, we're here in Owasso. We're at 621 Oliver Street, which is the old YMCA. So if you see a bald guy with a beard walking down by the castle in the river, that's typically me. Go throughout the day. But Exploring Potential, our primary objective is we help companies attract, develop, and retain top talent as well as customers. So we do that through media, communications, and training specifically. And just to give you a perspective of really where we started as primarily a media production advertising agency several years ago, and really focused in kind of that world and in those kinds of creative communications. We really pivoted to start serving our partners in the capacity of internal corporate communications and training and onboarding. We really saw a gap in what companies are actually providing in terms of quality and effectiveness when it comes to training and onboarding their employees, as well as just communicating internally and externally. So we've really, that is Exploring Potential's really primary focus, but we do have the capacity capabilities of any production house, ad agency. We just happen to apply them to help companies with those specific problems. So specifically around COVID-19, a couple resources that I wanted to mention to you, and a few of these are free and available that we would more than happily provide in whatever format anybody might need. As COVID started to really hit and things were shutting down, we recognized, okay, there's kind of this baseline knowledge that we need to get out to people. So we developed it's a short and simple animated video series, but it's around the COVID-19 response for businesses. And this covered, just sort of the general symptoms, proper sanitization, social distancing. Again, this was kind of an early education tool. There's definitely still value to the content there, but that was kind of the first piece that we really started helping provide for our clients. And then the second part to that was we created a video series called Transitioning to Remote Work. And that also is a free resource. They're up on our website now, but if there's something that, anybody on this call wants access to separately or, needs any tweaks to, that's all kind of part of it. Those were pieces that we felt were really critical to get out to the community. And again, just completely free. But the transitioning to remote work, for companies that haven't worked remotely before, this provides some background on how to effectively make that transition or set up some systems and ways of doing things to make that most effective. Since then, so again, those were kind of early on responses. Since then, particularly with some of the executive orders that have come in the state of Michigan, we have been helping our partners comply with the executive orders specifically to help develop preparedness and response plans, as well as the training that's required by the executive order that employees are provided. So we have kind of a templated approach to some of the preparedness response plans that we can work with our partners to fully develop theirs. But we've also developed a course called COVID-19 Protecting Yourself in the Workplace that checks the boxes of the requirements for companies to provide that training as part of that executive order to their employees. So this is in e-learning format. If you're an organization that has a learning management platform, we have all the file assets that we can plug it right into your system. Alternatively, we have our own that we can get your company set up with as well. But as mentioned, it's an interactive e-learning, covers, checks those boxes of what's required for training, from, just about COVID-19, how it spreads, how to protect yourself and others at work, as well as PPE donning and doffing, which is a pretty critical part of that training requirement. So again, e-learning format, it comes with, we've got print guide available for it, as well as assessment. So that's a licensable and customizable piece of educational piece that we do have available. Separately, again, kind of sticking to our roots of a communication, high quality, high engagement video production company as well. We've developed, and many of you, or those of you who are familiar with us, know that we do a lot of work with NCG Cinemas here in town. And so a few of the things that we work on is we've developed communications campaigns for reopening and safety. So whether communicating to your own employees on, look, this is the new reality, or if you're communicating outward facing, like here as a customer, this is what to expect. These are our phases. If you're somebody doing phases, or, these are the precautions that we're taking. These are all in the name of, making, when it comes down to it, businesses that rely on customers coming in, we need to make them feel safe to return. So we help strategize those campaigns, as well as develop the creative for those, whether it consists of, design work, website, videos, animations. We've also done returning safely physical video walkthroughs. So kind of actually walking through the workspace, whether for customers or internally, and saying, here's kind of the new reality. Here's what we're going to expect. And then finally, we are developing now highly customizable de-escalation training. Many of you have probably read the headlines of particularly around the issue of wearing face masks, situations where unfortunately frontline and a lot of times teenage employees are getting screamed at by adults. So we're working with our partners very closely in helping arm them and their even young employees with the skills necessary to diffuse those difficult situations. So that's just a quick overview of who we are and COVID specific resources that may be helpful to you. Certainly, I can be reached directly on my email. It's just Brett, BRETT @exploringpotential.com. If anybody has any questions, also happy to answer any questions on this call. But yeah, I wanted to thank you again, Justin, for the invite to be here today, and SEDP for all the incredible value that you all are providing the community. So thank you very much for the time.
Thank you, Brett. Great stuff. And we got introduced to Brett. We just talked recently. And it's wonderful to have another technology company here in Shiawassee County. And as you heard there, not only do they have resources for COVID-19, but they can do some other great things as it relates to talent. So you will be hearing more from us with Brett on some of their offerings and how you may be able to plug into that to help with your talent needs. So stay tuned. And actually, one thing we want to do too, Jody from our team, as you all know, has been maintaining a listing, a spreadsheet of PPE products, services, all that. Brett, we want to make sure we get you added to that list. So Jody, if you can do that, that would be great. And we will get an update out to all of you if anyone is in need of not only Brett services, but any other PPE type stuff. So we definitely want to be able to help with that. On the talent side, so those are our speakers today. If you have any questions, let's hold those right now. I do want to give you a few more quick updates, and then we'll open the floor up. On the talent side, I do want to give you a few updates. Number one, and I mentioned this last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, our friends at the SBDC, Small Business Development Center, got a grant from the federal government through the stimulus package to basically hire specialists that can help companies through the crisis. And they're in a variety of areas. And one of them is in talent. So as we know, we've been talking about it here for weeks, months. Talent's the top issue for many companies, attracting it, retaining it. They have a person now who is covering this region. His name is Mark Rideout, who is available to work with companies on how you deal with that. How can you message yourself better? How can you, develop talent better? Basically, just to boil it down, this is consulting that you would normally have to pay for. You have that now available to you free as a company through this grant. So we are basically coordinating appointments for any business that needs to deal with talent. Please let us know. We'd be happy to set up a call, webinar, possibly an in-person meeting to get with Mark. He's got a great history, long history here in the region, and I think he'd be a great conversation for anyone working on that issue. So there's that. Two other things on talent, though, and this is directly related, the child care issue. We brought it up several times. You're all aware. It's a concern. I think it's a growing concern with schools going back. I know I've talked to several companies in the area. You're concerned about, your workers. If kids, don't go back, how do we, how do we have childcare, things like that. So anyway, we are continuing to work on that issue, but I did send out an email to you just a little bit ago. There's a webinar coming up Thursday at 1 o'clock about communities investing in child care facilities. So being able to expand offerings of child care. So we are participating in that. But certainly if there's any businesses or individuals on this call that would like to see more availability and affordability of child care in Shiawassee County, that may be something that you want to look at joining. And then the other thing that I want to mention in regards to talent, and I'm going to call on my vice president, Brent Jones here. He didn't know I was going to call on him, but I'm going to. We have access to some labor market information. We've been getting a number of communications from companies asking about wage data, labor market data. How do we compare with employers in the area? What's our pay like? And so we have access through SEDP to resources that can help answer some of those questions. And it's through a program called EMSI. So Brent, can I call on you to tell the group what EMSI is about?
Yep. So MC is a program that can pull labor market information from a variety of sources, and then it pulls it into sort of a central access point where we can kind of parse it out in any number of ways. So through MC, we can do some interesting things. You can, on the more simplistic side of things, just kind of pull what a given job title is being paid within, let's say, a certain drive time of Shiawassee County, or we can really pull it from any, if there's a competing market you're interested in, we can cross compare. We can also get into things like how frequently does a certain job title separate from their employer, how many job listings of a certain job description are available at any given time. There's really, it's a very robust tool. I'm probably not doing it full service here, just trying to list off the top of my head what it's capable of. But if you have any workforce questions or are just looking for some market information as it relates to wage scale versus really anything on the employment side, just reach out to us and we'll see what we can do through that MC program.
It really is. It's a great tool. I do want to thank our friends from Michigan Economic Development Corporation. They, and I don't know if Tyler's on or anyone's on from there, but they help, basically they help subsidize it. So we cover part of the cost, they cover part of the cost, and then we're able to offer that to our clients here in Shiawassee County. So once again, something you may have to go out and pay for, we're able to give that to you. So great resource. If you need any of that data, please let us know. One more thing I want to mention, back to our SBDC friends. I just received notice of this today. You will get an email on it. This is very specific for our friends in the hospitality industry, but there is a consultant that was also hired for helping businesses in that arena, for restaurants, bars, distilleries, things like that. Many of you actually might know her, Emily Mara. She's also with the Shiawassee Genesee United Way. But she is available, and they have resources available for businesses in that area. We know the challenges that our restaurants, bars, hospitality places are facing during this. So there are tools and resources to help them. And what I'm going to email you on later is they are doing a webinar next Thursday, the 27th, on trying to help those businesses. So if there's anyone on the call in that area, or if you have friends that own restaurants or run restaurants or bars or banquet centers or things like that, please definitely encourage them to join. Two more things before we open the floor, different topics. Small business grants. So the big program, you've heard us talk about it, Michigan Small Business Restart Grant. That's the Michigan Economic Development Corporation money. That program was open for a while for application. That window closed 2 weeks ago, I believe on the 5th. Wanted to give you all an update. The grant review is in process right now. I would tell you it's about 99% done, not 100% done, but we're very, very close to having the review process done. As you might imagine, there was a lot of applications and certainly a lot of requests for money. Won't be able to meet everybody's request, but definitely want to try to get as much in the hands of local businesses as we can. So the local process is 99% done. There is a conversation that's going to be had tomorrow morning with the I-69 Thumb Region partners. And then after tomorrow's call, we should have a clear guidance on when we will be able to notify recipients and what the process will be in getting dollars to those recipients. So, so getting much closer on that. So if you did apply for one of those small business restart grants, you should be getting an update very soon. In fact, I believe we want to give some type of an email update at some point later this week. So, so stay tuned on that. And then the last thing I wanted to mention today, our friends at Memorial Healthcare, you may have seen this over the weekend or on social media. They continue to be a leader not only in their wonderful healthcare offerings they provide, but also in doing testing for the virus. And the new development they have is they are now offering drive-through testing, which is a great opportunity for those that need to get tested. It's actually out at where their facility is on West 21. It's 1637 West Main. It was an old bank branch for those of you who know that area. So they are encouraging appointments, but you can drive up and register there. And it's just another way for Memorial to try to improve ease of access to testing. So we'll send out some information on that, hopefully later today. But certainly, if any employers here on the call, if anyone needs testing, any of your workers, maybe they have some concern, it's a great resource to be able to do it, and it's very easy being a drive-through. So definitely want to thank our friends from Memorial for their leadership on making that available. So with that, once again, a busy call since we only do these once a week. I want to open up the floor. If anyone has any comments or questions for me or for our friends from PTAC or Brett King or anything else, please comment now. Hit *6 on your phone, please. Anybody have anything? Any comments or questions from anybody? Okay, well, I'll reiterate what I said at the start. If there's any speakers, topics you want us to cover next week or in the future, let us know. I want to thank our speakers today. Thank you for your time. If you need anything at all, get a hold of us. Thanks, everybody. Have a good Tuesday.